Word is spreading fast once again, and those wild rumors are heating up about Leo Messi and Inter Miami potentially getting an invite to the Copa Libertadores in 2027. Let us break down exactly where this breaking news is coming from, why everyone has been talking about it so much over the last few hours, and how realistic and incredibly massive this would actually be for CONMEBOL. Not to mention Inter Miami, CONCACAF, the Mexican League, the MLS, and especially for the legacy of Leo Messi himself, it would be absolute madness. I have got all those details lined up for you, along with the very latest breaking updates on Leo Messi and what is happening right now. There are whispers he might actually be flying back to Miami as early as tomorrow, and we are going to run through all the latest information we have on this very quickly, keeping things completely respectful as we always do here. So let us jump right into it. Because yes, we are starting off today with some crucial updates on Leo Messi. Let us get right to the point. Even though his official return date to the pitch is still up in the air, we absolutely should not be rushing him back into action just yet, you know? He needs to take all the time his body needs to recover. I am mentioning this because so many of you were asking about it yesterday, especially after seeing reports from some pretty random media outlets out there. They just started throwing out all kinds of wild rumors, claiming that Leo Messi was going to take several days or maybe even weeks off. But look, like I said, nobody is putting any real pressure on him right now. If Leo feels he needs that time, then that is completely fine. Now, like I have always said, the responsibility falls on us, right? We have to show our support and wait for him, no matter how long it takes. But still, those rumors were definitely swirling around. I did not say anything initially because those sources were not reliable at all. But then, earlier this morning, some new details were leaked, claiming that, well, you know how we do things here, we are not going to show private photos. We are not going to post any intrusive images or anything like that. We are going to keep showing him that exact same level of respect. That is only fair. We should not be stalking anyone or leaking things. But I can show you what his actual private jet looks like. The high-end private jet that Leo Messi owns, which is the very same aircraft his family, and he used to travel all over the world whenever they need to make private trips. And well, the word on the street is that late last night, or rather in the early hours of the morning, it landed at the airport. Specifically, the Rosario International Airport. It sat there waiting, and apparently, a local media outlet that caught everything on camera managed to speak directly with the crew on board. They actually got to speak directly with the pilots and all the dedicated flight support staff who make sure that this massive luxury aircraft runs completely smoothly. They allegedly revealed that late tonight, which would be early morning over in Argentina, Leo Messi and his entire family would be flying back home to Miami. Now, we do not know for sure if this is 100% true. It is true that his plane was spotted sitting there, but as I mentioned, this image is not from today. I just pulled a quick reference photo, you know? But either way, we will find out soon enough. And honestly, the least important thing right now is whether Messi is going to play or sit out the next match. He needs to take all the time in the world to recover. But if this travel information actually turns out to be true, there is something important we need to discuss. If these flight reports actually turn out to be accurate, it is going to be virtually impossible, my friends, for Messi to land on Wednesday morning, especially when you consider how incredibly long and exhausting that flight is from South America, and then turn around to play a high-stakes match against Lyon that very same night. Besides, depending on how other group stage games play out today, Miami could already be mathematically eliminated from the tournament, so forcing him to play makes absolutely zero sense. We will see what happens. Sure, some fans are saying, no, he is arriving right on game day specifically so he can suit up and play. I do not know about that. Some people believe that getting back on the pitch can be a great way to cope with tough times. Like I said, I am not so sure about that theory, and honestly, it does not even matter much, even if this travel news turns out to be completely true. We will talk more about it tomorrow if we get official confirmation that Leo is actually back in Florida. But let me repeat, I highly doubt he is going to rush back and immediately step onto the pitch to play against Lyon after going through such a difficult personal moment. We are talking about a match that might be completely meaningless for them. Miami could already be knocked out, or they could still face elimination even if they win. So honestly, I just do not see that happening. And we have to remember, the final round of the League's Cup group stage matches kicks off later today, and Inter Miami is facing an incredibly difficult, almost impossible path to qualify for the knockout stage. Not only do they have to win, but they must defeat Lyon by a massive margin, and then they have to wait on 7, 8, 9, or 10 other results to go their way just to advance. So in my eyes, it looks incredibly tough, but we will see. Especially since Lyon is also fighting with everything they have to qualify, meaning this will not be an easy game by any stretch. And if Miami fails to win, they are automatically out of the tournament, no matter how the other matches play out. Personally, I would not take that risk with Messi at all. In fact, their manager Guillermo Hoyos spoke to the media and shared his thoughts on the situation. He made it clear that this club has to fight for everything and play every single game with the sole objective of winning. People were whispering about the possibility, right? They actually ended up asking head coach Hoyos about it directly during his press conference. They wanted to know if he would rotate the squad since qualifying is looking pretty tough. But he said absolutely not. He's playing his best possible lineup. So we will just have to see what kind of lineup he rolls out. Suarez is definitely out, and even though Bertarami trained, the manager himself basically admitted that he is not quite ready to go yet, which means they will likely end up starting the exact same attack from the last match. That means Pinter and some kid who just made his debut, especially with Silvetti out injured. Honestly, when it comes to Lionel Messi, risking him right now makes absolutely no sense at all. Obviously, it is going to be his call in the end, not saying he won't show up and demand to play, but I seriously doubt it. We will see. We are going to be covering that entire match live as it happens. I really wanted to make sure you all knew that. We will be live and on the air for the big Inter Miami versus Lyon clash, whether he plays or not. We are going live to break down how the squad looks, check out the younger players, and of course, chat with every single one of you. That is all happening tomorrow. First thing in the morning, I will post the exact schedule for when we will be starting the live stream. And honestly, at the end of the day, we need to handle the timeline for Leo Messi returning to action with the utmost respect. I have always said this to you. We just have to wait and see. I really do not want to pry too deeply into it, because it has become a deeply personal matter for him, like I said. We cannot rush this. We cannot just expect Messi to show up, walk onto the field, score, and fix everything. No, my friend. On the flip side, we do not want to be running around saying it is time for Messi to retire, right? I have heard so many of you asking me about this, and I see the chatter all over social media. Obviously, when it is him, people speculate wildly. A lot of people are acting in bad faith, practically praying for Messi to retire, spreading rumors to make that a reality, or honestly just farming for social media likes. Look, nobody has officially said that Messi is going to retire, and absolutely nobody has confirmed that he is going to step onto the field tomorrow either. These things are just up in the air. Sure, he will retire eventually, but we just do not know. I highly doubt it will happen like this, even though we all know he is going through an incredibly difficult personal moment right now. We will see how the football side of things shakes out. Once we get official word on whether he has actually returned to Miami or not, and we have some concrete data, then we can finally talk about his actual return to the pitch, along with his personal life or those leaked photos circulating online. We are absolutely not going to gossip about any of that stuff here, just so you guys know, and I really hope you won't share or like that kind of invasive content either. It is all about showing some basic respect, especially for Leo Messi's privacy. Now let us pivot directly to the biggest story on our radar today, the legendary Copa Libertadores. You can see it right there on your screen, a gorgeous trophy steeped in immense football history. It is truly a gorgeous piece of silverware, and as many of you remember, Liga MX clubs used to be invited to compete in the tournament for years. They put up some incredibly strong performances in the Copa Libertadores, even though Mexico is not actually a member of CONMEBOL. That is a detail we absolutely have to point out if we are going to be completely honest about the situation. So, when people start whispering about Inter Miami potentially getting an invite, it is not like they are suddenly breaking some sacred rule or doing something completely unprecedented in the tournament. Not at all, because Mexican clubs have a long history of competing in both the Copa Libertadores and the Copa Sudamericana. So, this is something that could actually happen, and I would absolutely love to see it. It would elevate everything for both CONMEBOL and CONCACAF, raising the competitive level of Mexican football and creating incredible matches. I think it would be fantastic, and that is exactly why this story has caught fire over the last few hours. I am not entirely sure why this rumor suddenly gathered so much momentum again, but it is a rumor that keeps resurfacing. And I am absolutely certain that Alejandro Dominguez, the president of CONMEBOL, along with the entire federation, would be absolutely thrilled to have Lionel Messi headlining their tournament. There is already so much talk about several different possibilities. Whether we are talking about the Copa Interamericana, the Libertadores, the Sudamericana, or even the Leagues Cup and the Champions Cup, we will just have to see. It would be an absolute dream for Messi to compete in the Copa Libertadores. After all, it is the only major trophy left on his bucket list. I honestly do not know if Miami could go all the way and win it, but they would definitely compete hard. The same goes for several top Liga MX clubs. And that brings us to the actual source of this breaking news, that is currently displayed on your screen. Multiple major outlets are reporting that Messi could play in the Libertadores with Miami, including highly respected networks like Telemundo Deportes. We also have reports coming in from other sports media sources like Deport TV. This platform does an excellent job aggregating the trending story that started circulating over the last few hours, officially published today, August 11th, as you can see right here on the screen. This is from the newspaper. Oh, wait, let me get past that part. Yes, this is from the newspaper Los Andes, okay? Right here on the screen, look at this. Lionel Messi could actually play in the Copa Libertadores by 2027. And yes, we finally have an official target date. This is the real story behind CONMEBOL's ultimate dream. South American soccer's governing body is apparently closing in on a massive plan to bring the greatest of all time straight into the continent's most prestigious club tournament. Okay, here are the details. CONMEBOL is reportedly designing a massive rollout to bring both Liga MX and MLS clubs directly into the Copa Libertadores and Copa Sudamericana starting in 2027. Pay close attention here. This comes after some serious behind-the-scenes negotiations finally reached a major breakthrough. Now they just need the green light from CONCACAF to get Lionel Messi competing in South America, which is the ultimate dream for clubs across Mexico and the United States. Let me zoom in on this article for a second, so you can see it a bit clearer. Now, a full 10 years after the original partnership fell apart over scheduling conflicts, they are right on the verge of making this massive reunion happen for the upcoming campaign. CONMEBOL is preparing to welcome MLS franchises directly into the Copa Libertadores. Just remember that. Tigres actually made it all the way to the final back in 2015, and 2016 was the very last year Mexican teams competed, and they always put up an incredible fight. Even though Mexican clubs were often dealt a pretty bad hand by the organizers, they constantly had to play under incredibly unfair rules and conditions. This bombshell information was actually broken by Telemundo, which is a massive reputable media outlet that holds a huge influence across both Mexico and the United States. Their report claims there are massive rumors about inviting 4 distinct CONCACAF teams to the next tournament, specifically 2 clubs from Liga MX and 2 from MLS, exactly 2 and 2. These teams would join either through direct sporting merit or through custom personal invitations, according to their report titled Copa Libertadores, Liga MX and MLS, a union that can happen. Got it? Even though the report does not name the specific teams getting those spots, everyone is already speculating that Lionel Messi and Inter Miami will absolutely be one of the chosen clubs. From a sporting standpoint, they have been dominant enough to justify an invite. And from an economic standpoint, well, it is a total goldmine. Think about the massive star power here. Just imagine watching Inter Miami with Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Rodrigo de Paul, and Casemiro going head-to-head against a powerhouse like Flamengo. It would be absolute madness. Or taking on Nacional in Uruguay. Meanwhile, Inter Miami's management, led by Jorge Mas, has openly admitted they want in on this. Remember, Jorge Mas actually brought this up several months ago, maybe late last year. He explicitly said that getting the chance to play in the Copa Libertadores would be an incredible historic opportunity for them, making it clear that he is highly motivated to compete. He also mentioned back then that he believes the reigning champions of both MLS and Liga MX absolutely deserve a direct spot in the tournament. He was arguing for 2 slots. But now this new report is claiming there will be 4 slots. Honestly, I find that a bit hard to believe. Remember, even back when Mexican teams were regularly involved in South American tournaments, they did not always send their top clubs. The very best teams or top-seeded clubs were strictly locked into the CONCACAF Champions Cup instead, which made perfect sense since that is their actual home confederation. Only the secondary teams would end up getting sent over to the Copa Libertadores and Copa Sudamericana. So we will have to wait and see how they actually organize this, and whether it is just a one-off stunt purely designed to showcase Lionel Messi. The article goes on to say, at the same time, Telemundo reports that talks are highly advanced to launch a brand new parallel tournament, which would bring together the reigning champions of all 4 major competitions. This proposed 4-team tournament has apparently been quietly in the works all year, featuring the ultimate champions of both MLS and Liga MX, alongside the winners of the Copa Libertadores and Copa Sudamericana. That is the rumor, and it sounds a lot like the old Copa Interamericana. To me, it would make way more sense to just invite the CONCACAF Champions Cup winner and maybe the League's Cup winner if they really want a 4-team tournament. But look, that is just the report Telemundo put out. We will have to wait and see if it actually happens. I mean, sure, Telemundo is a highly respected and serious outlet, but that still does not guarantee this will ever become reality. But just look at what this could look like. Just imagine Lionel Messi lifting the Copa Libertadores trophy with Inter Miami. That is absolute fantasy land. I really do not think it will happen. Then again, who knows? When it comes to Lionel Messi, you are allowed to dream, and almost anything feels possible. We will just have to see if this crazy plan can even get off the ground first, because if it falls apart, this dream scenario remains completely impossible. At the end of the day, I really think this has a lot to do with Liga MX and their overall strategy. Remember that? Just over the last 24 hours, some very interesting reports started emerging straight out of Mexico. They claim that the Mexican Football Federation is fully backing FIFA President Gianni Infantino in this exact expansion plan about selling off shares of the World Cup. And let us not forget that CONCACAF released that joint statement where absolutely everyone jumped ship, leaving Mexico completely stranded and all on their own. Word on the street is that there is a real motive behind this. Mexico is trying to strike a deal. They basically begged Infantino, promising their support if he helps them negotiate a move over to CONMEBOL. Honestly, the whole idea is just pure madness. People are also whispering that this is deeply tied to TV broadcasting rights, marketing cash, and all those massive corporate payouts. Now that Netflix is going to host the Gold Cup, things are shifting. The Mexican Football Federation is probably quietly harboring some serious resentment. Let us face it, from a purely financial standpoint, it would be a massive jackpot for them to align with CONMEBOL. Let us be real. It sounds like total chaos, and we actually talked about this yesterday. But it would be a complete and total revolution. A massive move like that would breathe brand new life into both the domestic league clubs and the national team if it actually goes down. But who knows, we will have to wait and see. This could easily all be connected. Right now, this bombshell news is strictly about Mexico. But if you look closely, there is obviously a much bigger picture unfolding here. If CONMEBOL plays their cards right and sees the massive potential in this, then Copa Libertadores is obviously going to be part of the equation too. Especially when you consider that those Mexican clubs, entirely on their own, are massive. They would bring some serious fire and drama to the table, not to mention a massive boost in television broadcast rights. Now try to picture bringing MLS teams into the mix. We are talking about global superstars, not just Lionel Messi, but massive names like Antoine Griezmann too. Picture Antoine Griezmann stepping onto the pitch to face off against America de Cali down in Colombia. It sounds completely wild. Or imagine Thomas Muller going head-to-head against a team like Rosario Central. Just take a moment to picture how intense those matches would actually be. That is the raw data we have right now. What do you make of all this? That is the report coming out of Telemundo today, and those are the facts. I think making this work is going to be incredibly tough, but if they pull it off, it will be an absolute masterpiece. Now, moving on to the situation with Lionel Messi, we need to treat this with the utmost respect. We have to give him space and see how things unfold. If he is back on the pitch tomorrow, great. If it takes him 2 weeks, that is perfectly fine too. He deserves all the time he needs to process this, because he is going through a deeply painful moment right now. A lot of people are saying, and I kind of agree, that getting back on the field and playing might actually be the best therapy for him. Not to make him forget his pain, obviously, but just to help him tune out the noise. Because at the end of the day, as harsh as it sounds, life keeps moving forward. It is a harsh truth we all have to face sooner or later. Every single one of us is going to go through this exact same thing. It will happen to me, to you, and to every single person you have ever known. It is going to hit us all in different ways, and if we somehow escape seeing it happen to others, it is only because we went first. The bitter reality is that leaving this world is the only absolute guarantee we ever get, and yet life just keeps grinding forward. So we really have to keep that painful perspective in mind. But right now, we just need to stand by Lionel Messi, support him, and let him make his own decision. If he wants to come back tomorrow, that is great. If he decides on Saturday, fine. Even if he needs a whole month, that is perfectly fine. Ultimately, it is entirely up to how he feels. I will keep a close eye on everything and bring you the latest updates as soon as they break. That is about all I have for you today. Thank you so much for sticking around until the very end. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It is completely free. I truly appreciate every single one of you showing up and supporting the work here. And finally, do not forget to check out complexities for the absolute best quality soccer jerseys at the lowest possible prices. They offer free shipping to almost anywhere in the world. Plus, we have special discount codes active right now for up to 12 or 15% off. So what are you waiting for? Almost all the brand new season gear is fully stocked. I will leave all the details and discount codes right here. Not much left to say. Thank you all, and I look forward to reading your thoughts down in the comments section.